It's the Custard TV podcast. Now, this is a confusing one. Gary was out last night at a works do, so Matt and I recorded most of the podcast without him, but now he's back and he wants...
Hey, what do you mean you recorded most of the podcast without me?
We do a lot of the podcast without you anyway, it's just we edit you out.
That's not in the contract.
You should be thanking yourself lucky, both of you, because I am now missing an amazing news item on my local news, which is about... Is
there a cat up a tree?
No, it's better than that.
Go on.
It's the story of...
Christmas?
Oh God, it's one of those.
It's so stupid. It's so stupid. It's the story of Dippy the Arthritic Penguin.
I rest my case.
Dippy the Arthritic Penguin.
Do you know what it is? And I was on holiday last week, and I thought I may have said this before on this podcast. It's possible, but news in London and news in other areas is completely different. Like local news down in Bournemouth, after about item 1, it's all local news about things that are going on. In London, you get shootings, death, murders.
I know, but
cuts,
I was going to find out.
You never get that stuff.
We don't know whether Dippy the Arthritic Penguin was shot. We don't know. I didn't get to see it.
Well, he was arthritic. He's probably doing someone, putting him out of his misery.
Tell you something about London, though. I was there the other day for another screening.
Okay. Matt's been to another screening.
Thanks, Gary. You have your own rules when it comes to crossing the road, don't you, Londoners?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, basically do it or die, and you might die.
I was waiting
do it and die.
At the lights, waiting for the thing to go green, the green man, and no one had pressed the thing. There was loads of people in front of me. No one had pressed it at all.
But only slightly more annoying that is when 15 people press it, thinking that by pressing it, it will do quicker. So
I don't understand that. It's like when you're waiting for a lift and other people come over and they press it like you haven't. Yeah.
But then the reverse happens, like Matt said. Everyone assumes everyone else has done it. Can I tell you, I got asked in Costa by 2 people to move because they were trying to have a private conversation.
Or you were blocking the sun.
No, shut up. No, I was sat down to do my...
I'm getting rickety here, Gary.
I sat down to do my quiz word with my gingerbread latte, and they said, would you mind moving to another part of the restaurant, or the cafe, whatever they called it? We're trying to have a private conversation. Rather than engaging them, I just said no and put my headphones on.
I would have loved to have known what they were talking about.
Well,
I'd have put my headphones on but not play any music, because then you can probably still hear what they're saying.
But the point was, I didn't care what they were talking about. As long as it wasn't about me, I didn't care.
Well, it probably was toward the end. They were probably saying, can you believe he hasn't moved?
Luke, Gary and Matt.
Talking telly.
On the Custard TV podcast.
So I suppose this would be a good time to start the new feature. He's been away for a week. Gary's TV Diary, which took a lot of explaining last week.
We got a theme tune for this one.
This week it looks a little bit different because I have been away. So this week what I've done is I've just written down the bits and things that I watched when I was away.
Yeah.
All right. And then next
this is,
week,
by the way, if you're new, if you're wondering what this is all about, this is because Matt and Gary watches so much different stuff to the two of us that we want to get an insight into what those things are. And the best way of doing that is to get him to write a TV diary.
So this one will look a bit strange because it doesn't include some of the things that I would normally watch because I was on holiday, obviously. So
yeah, like the news.
Indeed, yeah. So I watched episode 6 of River.
Of the River now.
River, sorry. 3 episodes of Rectify that I know that Luke loves.
Well, we'll talk about. We'll love it. Yeah.
3 episodes of The Bridge, the new 3rd series, which is fantastic. 10 minutes of 5 Amazon pilots called Patriot, Edge the Loner, One Mississippi, Good Girls Revolt, and Heiston. I watched 10 minutes.
I haven't heard of any of those.
No, they're the new ones.
We talked about some of them, didn't we?
We talked about the fact there was some coming up.
A Gary Goes West.
Yes.
Exclusive.
None of them were particularly outstanding. None of them, I think, I would look forward to if they got made into series.
Well, you made 10 minutes of each one.
Well, that's right. An episode of Jessica Jones, which is the new Amazon Marvel drama. I really liked it, so I'm going to carry on watching that. So,
I wouldn't bet on it.
Good.
Yeah, go on.
Found a weird one on Netflix called Taxi Brooklyn, which is this great idea about a police detective who gets her license taken away to drive, so she arrests a taxi driver and makes him drive her around Brooklyn solving crime.
Isn't that the plot to the film Taxi with Jimmy Fallon and Queen Latifah? That's the similar plot.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. So maybe
similar plot.
Maybe he watched that and he hasn't realised.
No. It was a definite series.
No, because it was in the film. It's he's the cop and she's the taxi driver.
Oh well, you see, they reversed it. They reversed it.
Oh, that's how
the
they
last
got away with
episode
it.
of the first series of Unforgotten, one episode of Scream on Netflix, which I'll talk about another time.
Right.
10 minutes of the following: Narco, Residue, and The Straits, which were all on Netflix and all not for me.
Any of these things?
No, I
It's
know,
fascinating. The diary.
I know.
The
How to
diary
Get Away with
fascinates
Murder.
me.
3 episodes of How to Get Away with Murder, which is still fantastic.
Yeah.
The first episode of Blind Spot, which I'll leave to talk about another time, but that is intriguing, but I've got absolutely no idea how they're going to make a whole series out of it.
Well,
I mean, basically, there's a bit of Prison Break in there where a woman is trained by somebody. They tattoo her body with clues to solving terrorist crime. So there's a bit of 24 mixed with Prison Break. The first episode of The Man in the High Castle on Amazon. 35
Nothing
minutes.
liked here, Gary. Nothing liked.
No.
Quite heavy stuff so far.
35 minutes of The Last Panthers on Sky Atlantic. But I didn't like it, so I gave it up.
Very
the diary.
35
I
minutes.
know. I love the diary.
I wrote down, because I know I needed to.
Go on.
And
Why?
Yeah.
Can I ask why you didn't make it till the end? Because surely it's only about sort of 45 minutes.
No, it was an hour. I think it was an hour. It was an hour.
Oh, it was an hour, Matt. It was an hour. Don't go pushing him.
Why didn't you continue with The Last Panthers?
Again, couldn't really see where it was going. Felt it was a bit formulaic.
Okay.
Felt like.
But I struggle.
There wasn't anything new. Tell you what it was. There wasn't anything new in it that grabbed me, that made me think, I should watch that over something else.
Okay.
But sometimes I think you like things where you don't know where it's going, and sometimes you get annoyed when you don't know where it's going.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's why Gary's the enigma that he is.
Yeah, he really is.
And then the thing that I watched the most was I completed the 3rd series of The Walking Dead, which I hadn't ever watched the whole of.
So nothing real light relief, no comedies. Apart from the
an episode of The Big Bang Theory and University Challenge and Only Connect, but no, nothing light really. But next week I will do a proper.
I love the diary. In fact, we can stop the podcast because the diary is what we can discuss now. I love the diary. Also, a bit of site business over at thecustardtv.com. If you've been loving comedy, The Detectivist on BBC4, then you can win the 2nd series on DVD right now over at thecustardtv.com. And please enter, because I want to give I don't want to give the DVDs away. I'd love to keep them, but...
Well, you have one, I'll have one.
Technically,
there we go.
Happy Christmas, Matt.
Happy Christmas.
That would be great, wouldn't it, if I just gave away those to you and I as Christmas presents? I like the idea that I could send you the Detectorist box with Citizen Khan inside it.
What have I done wrong?
Deciding whether you're a good person on the website or a bad person. Okay, speaking of bad people... the BBC Trust have made a decision on the... Yeah, the BBC Trust have made a decision and decided BBC Three's fate. We talked about it, what seems like ages ago now. I was living in a different house. My voice hadn't broken. Yeah, we did a whole podcast on whether we think BBC Three could survive online and what that meant and da-da-da-da-da. But it is now going to happen between February and March. So, February. You would think next year. Matt, you made a good point when we spoke online the other day, is that we're assuming that all the programming that goes online won't be to the same quality of like the documentaries and things that we like from the TV-based channel.
And
but
they are
maybe
saying
we're wrong.
that they are going to put everything on the TV at some point, even if it is in like the midnight hours sort of thing. So it has to still be good enough to air on a linear channel. So I don't know why they would not put on the same sort of quality of stuff that they are at the moment. All of these, if people do want to watch them on the telly, then they will be on between sort of 10 and 12 o'clock or on BBC 1 and 2, which I know we're sort of SciAt and things like that, but at the end of the day, it still makes me hopeful that we'll get stuff at the sort of
and that the programming won't be just in the form of a vlog.
The one thing that we probably won't get are any of the sort of dramas, anything like Don't Take My Baby or Murdered by My Boyfriend. I think they'll probably fall by the wayside. But then again, they've counted those sort of factual, haven't they, rather than...
BBC and ITV and Channel 4 have confirmed all their Christmas stuff, and people who work at magazines and to a lesser extent websites like ours are scrambling to get all the Christmas listings in place. Sort of the same as every other year that I can remember. On ITV, Downton Abbey's final episode.
They've got the Peter Pan thing. They've got Harry Price Ghost Hunter.
Sound of Music Live. All things you wouldn't really want to watch.
Still a Black tribute.
Yeah, on Christmas night, quite late.
Yeah.
Bizarre. BBC have got Mrs. Brown on Christmas Day. Yawn. They've got EastEnders. They've got the traditional David Walliams piece, which this year is an adaptation of his book Billionaire Boy.
Yeah, that's New Year's Day, isn't it? This time.
Yeah, they've got
and then on before Sherlock on New
and
Year's
then
Day.
there were None, which is a 3-part adaptation of a adaptation.
Agatha Christie.
Yeah. They've got, as Matt says, the sort of Sherlock special, which takes it back in time.
Well, obviously, Christmas Day is going to be the standard now that we've known for BBC One, which is, strictly Doctor Who, Call the Midwife, EastEnders, Mrs. Brown.
Yeah, and Michael McIntyre.
And Michael McIntyre.
Yeah.
That's been their standard. Channel 4 have got Gogglebox Kids on Christmas Day, which should be interesting.
Be interesting, yeah.
Goggles Frogs, as they've.
Oh, I like that! Oh.
That's their working title for it at the moment.
I do like it. They've had worse proper titles and things, so that's quite a good one.
They're putting that on Christmas Day with Alan Carr, obviously, who's sort of a constant for Christmas, and various films as well on their Christmas Day schedule. But at least Channel 4, I think, are putting something on solid rather than just films, which they've been known to in the past. But obviously, as well, they've got their first date special, and Luke's looking forward to the Secret Lives of the 4, 5 and 6-year-olds at Christmas nativity thingy.
And The Voice, you may have seen this online because it's been a while since we did the podcast last, but The Voice has been snapped up by ITV, who have confirmed they will show the singing competition in 2017 alongside The Voice Kids. Oh.
2 series of The Voice Kids, 3 series of The Voice they've confirmed.
Oh my Christ. I won't be watching it because it's moving to ITV. I just think we've spoken about this a lot. It's a flawed format in my view, and I don't think it's a flawed format.
I don't think it's a flawed format. I think it needs enough time to devote to it, and BBC very much rushed through it. I don't know if ITV are going to have the same issues with it, but I think if you've got the time to devote to it, then by all means do it. It'll be interesting to see how they structure it, and I will be watching it to see how they manage, because The Voice on BBC has sort of slightly differed every year, how they've sort of done the elimination processes.
Do you think they just have not found the right way of doing it yet, and they were still finding their feet?
In the States, they have a lot of time for it, don't they? Because they have like 2 or 3 episodes a week. But they have 2 or 3 episodes a week, so they've got plenty of time to do these elimination processes and what have you, which you need for The Voice, the team, the sort of team structure of it. But the BBC, the last couple of series especially, have been sort of handicapped by the fact that they've had to race everything out before Britain's Got Talent starts on ITV, because they know they're going to get crushed in the ratings by it. So it'd be interesting.
big difference is that at least ITV can, doesn't have to worry about promoting the winner in the same way